We'll start off with the review of Dead Rising 3 for the Xbox One, a launch title but still a contender to this day.
Dead Rising 3 is one of the few Xbox One launch titles that piqued my interest. Although I spent no real time with the others, this version was real appealing. Maybe it was the visuals.
Don't know why the hell I volunteered for this.
Dead Rising 3 takes place 10 years after Dead Rising 2, and it follows the story of a mechanic named Nick Ramos who's fighting for dear life to escape the doomed city of Los Perdidos before the government drops a bomb on it in an attempt to nuke all the infected. Now, this zombie apocalypse story in particular has been done many times before, but I guess in cases like these, we play games like Dead Rising for the fun factor, not for the story.
Size doesn't matter, big boy!
The voice acting and the dialogue in general help propel the story in a somewhat believable way, but in a believable B-movie kind of way. Dead Rising 3 has some really great launch title graphics, from the characters, cutscenes, environments, to the huge number of things on screen at the same time. This high level of visual detail really helps immerse you in the zombie apocalypse. So while these are just first generation, next gen visuals, they do the trick. The controls in Dead Rising 3 work pretty well. Controlling your character as well as the vehicles is intuitive enough. A few button placement choices could have been redone, but once you get into the game, you're guaranteed to get into it.
Damn, honey. Hell, you could probably make more of these out on the road now that you know what you're doing.
The ability to combine items to create greater weapons or vehicles to make more powerful zombie killing machines is always a welcomed addition. You can fight with just about anything you see laying around, from powerful guns to handbags. But when you combine items, you end up with some of the most ridiculous yet effective weapons. Some not so effective, but for most part, this combo mechanic gets the job done.
You gave me blue balls, you tease.
Dead Rising 3 is a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, and because of this, you'll notice the realism factor is toned down, way down, which is a good thing. Not all zombie experiences need to be as heart-pounding and tear-jerking as, let's say, The Walking Dead.
This is the best part.
You can enjoy this game alone or with company, but I found myself going through the entire campaign alone, as additional players would just pop up for a casual run. They never seem too interested in actually helping you complete the missions, but I'm sure if you had a dedicated player who you know is serious about completion, then it would be a different thing. Me? No such luck, but thumbs up for co-op anyway. There are several DLC packs that you can download to get the most out of Dead Rising 3. And I advise anyone who's completed the campaign to do so, as the actual campaign isn't that hard. Without completing all the side missions, you'll breeze through pretty quickly. So for some longevity, I'd advise you to invest in some of the DLC available.
Well, if it ain't our old friend from the highway.
While trotting through the zombie-filled Los Perdidos, you'll see that there is a bit of an RPG element to Dead Rising 3. You can level up certain things about your character. This element of character development was appreciated, but also could have been a bit more effective, as other than a higher life bar, I didn't get much of a boost with all the levels that I upgraded. Not completely useless, but I'd love a bit more.
Bud, there's a guy crying over a pool full of zombies by the landslide in Sunset. That is all. Later.
I'm not a fan of side missions, but the inclusion of the extra optional objectives is a good one, as in most free roaming games like this, certain players like to do just that, roam. Me personally, I like to stick to the main mission. Other than the fact that the side quests are usually silly, I like to complete my games quickly so I can move on.
Eddie!
Keep moving, leave the rest.
I did say the amount of things happening on screen at once was a good thing, but there are times when it gets downright overwhelming. But I guess that is to be expected from a game like this. But when I think about it, I'm left to wonder if these zombies really die, or each one I mow down simply respawns. A couple of the really bad things for me would include, like I mentioned, the silly side missions, which are totally subjective, repetitive dialogue while in the heat of battle, and sometimes, even though the controls are tight, you try to run and pick up a weapon and it just doesn't happen, coupled with the fact that you have to drop something in order to pick up food, which seemed like something the devs could have spared us. None of these things are killers though, and you can improve that whole pick up and drop off thing using upgrades. So all in all, Dead Rising 3 is a solid title that did not disappoint. The lad gives it an 8 out of 10.
Zombrex chipping is the law.
Go.